Trump in person. He's the most wonderful person that I see, that I know right now. He helped us, he be with us all the time as this happened. And he always be there for my family. That's why we always gotta be for him all the time. Thank you for everything. Thank you, and don't forget to go and vote. God bless America. Please make America great again.
Wow, what a job. What beautiful words. Can you imagine? I don't think it's her first language, and she spoke better than any person whose language is that particular language. That was incredible. Wow. And I can tell you, Carmen, that Mimi is looking down on you right now, and she is so proud. She's up there in the beautiful sky, well beyond the clouds, and she is so proud of you. What a job you did. Well, it's not easy either. Can you imagine through the grief to do something like that? And we are so sorry for your loss. It's unbelievable. We're going to get that stopped. We're going to stop it. This is happening every day. Soon it'll be every hour. It's just, we're going to stop it. We hold Mimi in our hearts forever. And we'll be your friend, Carmen. We'll be your friend and your family's friend. Thank you. Thank you very much. These terrible atrocities against our citizens are happening every single day in cities and towns all across America. I want you to hear directly from another mom, great mom also, wonderful woman who I met just a week ago. Border Patrol gave me this incredible endorsement. They said he's the greatest president in the history of our country. I said, does that include Lincoln, Washington? And yes, sir. But then I told the story, but then one of the guys got up and he's 37 years old. He said, he's the greatest president in my lifetime. I didn't like that. He's 37 years. I like the other one much better. Greatest ever. No, the Border Patrol is great. They're incredible people, and they gave us a full-throated endorsement. And they have every year, frankly. They always endorse me, and they're incredible patriots. Them and ICE and law enforcement and our sheriffs. Our sheriffs are great. Police all over the country. They are really respected by everybody, but they don't understand because they don't get treated properly. And we're going to treat them properly, and they're going to solve our crime problem very easily. It's what they want to do. They're dying, you know what? They're dying to do it. They watch these stores being robbed, guys walking out with refrigerators, 500 thugs going into a department store, cleaning it out, some of them with refrigerators on their back. And they want to do something, but they're told to stand down, don't even think about it. You'll lose your pension, you'll lose your house. You lose all your money, you lose your family. And we're going to free them up to stop the crime in our cities and stop the crime in our country. And they know, I have to say, you know, somebody said, well, how would you do this? Because obviously we have to deport these murderers and drug dealers and terrorists. We have terrorists coming into our country at levels we've never seen before. You know, in 19, if you look at the numbers issued by the Border Patrol in 2019, a Trump year, and I don't even agree with these numbers. They said I had 0 terrorists. Oh, by the way, bring down that board, please. Just my favorite board in the whole world. My favorite board in the whole world. I assume it's up there. Is it up there, Mike? So I love that chart. I love that graph. I sleep with it every night. I hold it tight. But it saved me, because if I didn't make that sharp turn to the right to look at it, I would not be with you tonight. So if you look at the arrow on the bottom, that was my last day in office. And after I left, all they had to do is leave it the way it was, remain in Mexico. You think it was easy to get Mexico to say, oh, sure. They said no. They laughed at me when I first proposed it. And within about 10 minutes, they were saying, we would love to do it, sir. I said, I'm going to put tariffs on every car and everything you send into the United States if you don't do it. And they not only that, they gave us thousands, tens of thousands of soldiers free of charge, everything free. I wanted it free. And tremendous crime is coming through. But that was in 2019. They said we allowed 0 terrorists. It had terrorists 0. And it was good, but I think it has to be a little bit. But the following year, it was 16 or 19 terrorists. Now it's thousands of terrorists. They're coming from the Middle East and all over the world. Some of the worst in the world. We know the names. We have no idea where they are. But our local law enforcement does, you know. People say, well, how are you going to ever find? Our local sheriffs and law enforcement people are incredible, and they're dying to do the job. And they know their middle names. They know their addresses, where they come from. They know everything, and they're going to help us. And we're going to have the largest deportation of criminals in history. But I want you to hear directly from another incredible mother whose world has been shattered just recently also, because Kamala let savage, illegal alien murders into our country through the open border. She has an open border, unvetted, unchecked, an open border. Please.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning first to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed, not realizing that that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends. We're going to shake it again.
I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on, and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape, and immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with 2 men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks.
All right, you've been listening in to former President Donald Trump's Macon, Georgia rally. A lot of speakers before him. He came out just about 30 minutes ago. And he was on script for the beginning. What we've seen for a lot of his final messaging over the last couple of days as we lead into Tuesday. What you've just been seeing over the last 10 or 15 minutes has been two examples the Trump campaign has brought forward of gut-wrenching families losing a loved one to people who are in this country illegally. It's a point that the former president makes at all of his rallies. It's obviously immigration that he is hitting on here, and both of these stories just are horrific. This is about a 12-year-old girl, and he had the mother of a 25-year-old girl up just a short time ago, Puerto Rican influencer who was found dead, and he had her mother up there. I want to bring in Mary Alice Parks ABC News White House correspondent, who is there at the rally in Macon, Georgia. I know it's probably loud in your ear, Mary Alice, but this has been a different tone for the former president at a rally. It's not what we saw earlier on today. He's really hammering home immigration and doing it with some gut-wrenching stories tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, in the last few days, his remarks have become increasingly dark and increasingly violent. Obviously, we talked a lot today about the comments that he made where he seemed to suggest that he'd be okay. Members of the press were shot at. But this is a different kind of tone, solely focused on immigration and really a strong anti-immigrant message in particular. I'm sort of whispering because it's a somber message right now. This crowd is quiet, sort of respectful, listening, like you said, to these absolutely gut-wrenching stories of Americans who have lost loved ones in violent scenes where the perpetrator was an undocumented immigrant. And, you know, these stories are really hard, and they get at exactly sort of this closing message that former President Trump wants to deliver. You know, he has promised a mass deportation operation in this country. He has said that it will be, you know, sort of his first order of business. Of course, we know that they've talked about things like setting up deportation tents along the border, sort of tents that could house between 50 and 70,000 undocumented immigrants as they work to put in place, like what he says will be the largest deportation operation the country has ever seen. And so he tells these really emotional stories about crime and then talks about wanting to work to get undocumented immigrants out of the country, Phil.
Mary Alice, just quickly before we go, what does the president and his campaign have planned for tomorrow, which is hard to believe is the last day of this campaign?
Yeah, I mean, another busy day. Today, he had 3 rallies and 3 battleground states. Tomorrow, he's boasting he's going to do 4 rallies across several battleground states. I mean, one of the downsides of doing so many events is that some of the crowds, I would say, yesterday were definitely smaller than a lot of his typical rallies. This is a good-sized crowd. This is a big crowd. But, you know, also, he sometimes runs a little bit late. You know, that at one rally earlier, he was 2 hours late. At that point, people started to leave. So I think they tried to make up some of that time. He was only an hour late to this event. But look, he's barnstorming these battleground states. I know he has an event in Pittsburgh that I'll be at tomorrow. He has an event in Michigan. I mean, we know sort of these 7 battleground states that they know could really decide this entire election, and they are going to be trying to hit as many as they can in these final hours, Phil.
Yeah, just 2 days away now. Mary Alice Parks in Georgia for us. Mary Alice, thanks so much. And thank you for being with us. There's more ABC News Live ahead right after a quick break.